So next up is Olivier Pages from CMB Monaco, a very valued client that we implemented together with Avaloq. I spoke to Olivier just before. I think he's got the job from the CEO directly. I looked up a little bit, did a little bit of research on Francesco Grosoli, who's his CEO, who said technology is important, but the human factor, having the right talents, always putting the right client at the center of our equation, that's the future of private banking. And I think, Olivier, you're going to talk about how that private banker, with the use of technology, can be in front of the client and make the difference.
Thank you. So first of all, thanks for the Unblu team for having me here today. I'm proud for two reasons. First, I think I'm the only representative in Monaco today in front of a Swiss German audience. And the second thing is I heard a lot of success story today. Safra Sarrazin and the other banks, you name it, and also the speech this morning about from the UBS was very inspiring. And so the second, I would say, particularly I have, is the only client that is not in production yet. So I'm not in production, but I'm going to talk about our ambition and the work that is we were driven with Unblu and our partners. So first of all, I feel the audience is a bit sleepy, so let's start with a short video. So this video summarizes what the ambition is. And we are at the final stage of the implementation of full replatforming with our partner Avaloq and third-party provider Unblu, BlackRock, Aladdin, and also Salesforce. I would like to start my intervention with a bold statement. Tradition alone is no longer enough. I've heard many speeches before in my career, and we are advertising all the same elements from a client point of view. Solidity, financial stabilities, legacy, we are there for centuries, but now from a client point of view, I think the digital experience comes at least second, not the first in the equation. So that's why we are trying to achieve at CMB Monaco with transformation. So let's first introduce who we are, because we are a little player, I would say, compared to a large-sized bank in Switzerland mostly. We are operating in a very competitive market. So no larger than Hyde Park, 2 square kilometers, more than 30 banks. We have around 20 billion of assets. And I'm proud to say that in terms of profitability, we're still in the 50-60% range, despite the technology investment. So what type of clientele do we serve today? The usual suspect, I would say, 50 to 65. Millionaires, billionaires, entrepreneurs, I would say old money, new money. And all of them are embracing, since COVID, I would say, the digital shift, I would say. Prior COVID, there was more demanding on face-to-face conversation. Now they are moving slowly, but surely to e-banking and then to mobile banking. And that's the way it goes. We're going to assist, like you do in Switzerland, in the biggest transfer of wealth in history in the next decade, and we are preparing for the future with this digital tool. I would say the basis that we have seen in our client, and in Monaco, there are pretty much valuing everyone the human touch, but also they want to have secure and also trustworthy partners, especially in the private banking. I always tell this example. I have a client of mine. Usually he tells, design a bank with an Amazon-like experience, with a Hermes five-star service. Imagine to have that kind of challenge. It's always a bit tricky for me. Then, what we are doing. So the transformation started in 2022 and with Salesforce. Then 2023, we started a project with Avaloq, and we are in the final phase to go live by end of this year with all these folks on the screen. I'm going to tell you a bit more in terms of what we are doing in terms of AI and use case. So we do not have product demo yet, but next year, if Unblu is inviting me, I will be more than happy to showcase the good work that we are driving. So we'll be the first client integrating Aladdin and BlackRock, thanks to the partnership announced last year. And we'll be, I think, the first client in Europe implementing BlackRock auto commentary. So what is auto commentary? Is the copilot for investment. So it's an artificial intelligence that actually screen all the client portfolio and provide investment recommendation on a daily basis with investment rationale. It will help us to provide consistency in the way that we are doing investment advisory, but also scalability in addressing clients. Second use case with our partner Salesforce, at least two use cases. First is the tricky question of, does my banker have done their call report? I'm sure that is a familiar use case. Every touch point with a client needs to be formalized into a call report. And trust me, at least for the Monaco bankers, they are not really like it. So the way we have addressed it is we have moved all our telephony system to Teams telephony with an audio recording system on a SaaS. And then on top of that, we implemented Salesforce Einstein, so the artificial intelligence from Salesforce, picking up the calls and doing a summary like a copilot, but on top of that, interpreting client sentiment and next best action into the CRM. The second use case on Salesforce on AI was on compliance. So you're very familiar that we need to do a lengthy and costly compliance check on our client database. So we are already interconnected with Rescreen, WorldCheck, LexisNexis. But on top of that, we implemented a solution called CleverChain that automatically screen on the web what we call the allegation or morality check. You are familiar that since the Trump era, Mr. Trump has abolished, I would say, fact checkers. So you can write anything on anyone on the internet without any verification. So that's CleverChain AI through Salesforce that addressing the case. Last but not least, I would say the Unblu, the last partner. This is the engagement layer of our infrastructure, and that helping us in driving the conversation like the other participants today have showcased. So we call it CMB Connect, and we're gonna have a short video about that. All right. So I will not fall into the same, I would say, repeating what my colleagues have said earlier, but forbidding WhatsApp in our bankers' population is mission impossible. Sorry. You can forbid it by procedure, you can tell they have a data privacy issue and so on. I've tried it many times, but never succeeded. So we need to find a solution, and we implemented similar setup that Safraz Arazin presented earlier with persistent and not persistent conversation to avoid that kind of stuff. Email limitation, that has been said, of course, email a cold, unsecure medium that we want to avoid. And in that adoption, I hope that will be successful compared to the other participants today. Last but not least, there is also these processes around advisory and onboarding where Unblu is a game changer. Especially when you need to explain to a 90-year-old lady what is the investment proposal. Of course, the lady will not go into Unblu, but the next generation will help in driving, I would say, documentation directly and instantly from Unblu. Also from onboarding, so I mentioned that we are relying on Salesforce for onboarding, but on top of Salesforce, Unblu also helps in exchanging the documents and the conversation in an easy way. So our promise to the client is to have private conversation, that's for sure, but with premium service. So we will not implement any chatbot, any unpersonal, I would say, solution. You can reach directly to your banker, or you can add, like it has been mentioned earlier, another party in the conversation, like your investment advisor or your credit advisor, or even your onboarding team to facilitate the processes. It's a direct line to CMB Monaco, and we hope that we will get rid of old medium. So what we have learned so far, again, is very, I would say, presumptuous to say that we have all the lesson learned as of today, but when we started the journey, we were designing this as a technology company, but this is not the right way to do it. We need to start with the outcome, we need to start with the user, and we need to start what we call the job to be done. What kind of job to be done can address Unblu, Salesforce, even BlackRock. Then, my friends, I hope there is no compliance or risk team in the audience, but Monaco is a bit lighter than in Switzerland or maybe European Union, but it's still a pain, and we need to bring compliance in early stage between the expectation from a client or even from a banker and expectation from compliance is always a gap. Adoption as an investment, of course, we don't expect to convert from day one 100% of our clientele, but it's an investment for the future. Next generation, of course, but slowly but surely, I think even our oldest client, that is nearly 100 years old today, hopefully will use one day the solution that we are designing, especially on Unblu. In terms of metrics, moving from email that today representing more or less 50% of our traffic, then following calls and then face-to-face conversation, we want to reach 60% through secure channel, which is Unblu mostly. Adding 25-30% on the onboarding efficiency. So again, we have a process really well designed in Salesforce, but Unblu can also add up a bit of efficiency there. And again, staying on the premium services like the Hermes experience that I was mentioning. So in a nutshell, for our client, faster, safer, and more personal. For bankers, stronger client relationship with less friction on key processes, like I mentioned. And for CMB, we want to drive an image of modernity, like the video showcased earlier. That's it for me. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Olivier, for the insights. I'm really looking forward for next year for getting that AI. Just one question. You're going to have more questions because we have Christoph coming up with his panel, and you're going to be part of that panel. But just on your expectation on the use of AI, you think AI is going to drive that adoption with the RMs if things get easier?
So sorry again for my French, but the RM are sometimes lazy. And they see AI as an opportunity to drive more business without less work, I would say. So having that kind of initiatives on call report automatics, automatic more IT check, generation of investment proposal driven by BlackRock, it's at least 30 or 35% of client-facing time free up in their agenda. So more time, more money, banker happy.
Very good. So you increase your AUMs and you go to the coffee shop at 4.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wonderful. Okay.
Exactly.